And open the meeting for the Carver Conservation Commission. This is June 15, 2022. The time is 7 o'clock. Order of business, discussion, request for COC, Certificate of Completion, 276 Federal Road, SE 126574.
So we went out there today and looked at everything, and we thought everything looked great. It's all complete, it's all been stabilized, all the panels are up, so there's no reason why you shouldn't issue the COC. Right? I mean, everybody saw it pretty much today, unless there was no issues out there.
Okay.
Anything for you? No? Jim?
Fine.
Dan?
Good.
I'll take a motion.
All righty. Let us know.
I need a motion to issue the COC for 276 Federal Road, SE 126574.
Also move.
Second.
Motion made and seconded.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passed 4-0. Request for COC, 196 Tremont Street, SE 126576.
Pretty much the same thing. The only issue at this one was remember that one slope that they hadn't, in the back, that they hadn't quite stabilized, and they're gonna put the matting on it and seed it again.
Yeah, and they're gonna also hydroseed behind the fence.
Right, that's what I mean. Yeah, that slope behind the fence,
Yeah.
yep.
Nice clean installation. Anything, Dave?
No comment?
Jim? Dan?
All good.
We're good? I'll take a motion to approve the COC for 196 Tremont Street, SE 126576.
Also move.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
There we go. Request for COC, Certificate of Completion 0 Hammond Street, SE 126673.
Same thing for that. And this one was actually, minor wetland issues, and it was only the first part of
Tiny bit, yeah.
the road when they drove in. So there really wasn't a lot of wetland, issues at this one.
I'm good.
Good?
Good. Yeah.
All good
Dan?
here. Yep.
I need a motion.
Also move.
And I so second.
Approve the COC for 0 Hammond Street, 126,673. Made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? There we have it. Oh, that was easy. Request to cut trees, 26 Wareham Road. Wenham Road, sorry.
Yes, I got these pictures from the homeowner, and I think you'll pretty much agree that they need to be cut. There's some white pines by the house, but they've broken off at the top like they usually do. So I'll just have you take a look at those, but I told them it was fine.
Yeah, that's what they're all doing. They're all breaking way up
Yeah.
like that.
Those look like they have been dead for a while.
You have no problem with it, Brooke?
No. No, and he called me when the tree guy came in, so he's very, he was very,
Yeah. Wonder if there's something that's infesting them that is leading to them
Old age.
dying.
We're all in the 90s now, 89, 89,
Oh,
90s.
please, Ellen, I'm
Yeah, I know it. I know it.
No, they just
Fall
grow tall. They
over a
grow
good
tall
one.
and fast, and so the fibers
Yeah.
are tight, and so they're all mid-shaft snappers.
That's it. A lot of that's red rot, too.
Yeah.
Anybody have a problem with it?
No.
Nope.
Take a motion to permit it.
I so move.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Okay, the tree cutting on 26 Wenham Road. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, opposed? Informal discussion, 134 Main Street.
My name's Greg. I believe some of you were at the property last year. I asked for permission to cut some trees down. I wanted to put up a garage on the property, which is you know, within the setbacks. So before I go spend the money on the engineering and so forth, I wanted to see what your thoughts were. I don't have a great plot plan, but I drew, you know, where it was on this.
You remember the site? Yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure that I went to.
Probably should have taken some.
Yeah, you might have been there, Ellen. If it's already a gravel area where he parks his trucks and
So
stuff.
this is there's a little driveway here, and I could park down here, and so the garage would be here. And I think the 60-foot and 100-foot line is, you know, here someplace, and 100 feet is up near the
Yeah, I
house.
think we figured your house was already within the
The
100.
corner of the house.
Yeah, but are you parking in the 65? Is that what you're telling us?
Yeah, this is where I have, you know, my boat and truck and so forth down this way. The tree line is down, you know, down here. So it's probably 60 feet off the trees, I would think. Probably should have measured it, but I guess about 60
Is
feet.
the garage gonna need a variance?
If it's within the 65.
I'm gonna try to, I talked to the building inspector, he said over 700 feet I would need a variance. So I'm
You
trying
need a
to-
variance from zoning for over 700 feet, but if it's within the 65, you'll need a variance from conservation just to be able to build it.
Right, yeah.
I mean, so obviously, you definitely would need to know 710.
Well, it's gonna
So-
need an NOI, it's gonna need some definitive plans.
Yeah.
And I really hate to have the gentleman spend the money on it.
I figured I would need to.
Is there any?
I guess because some of you have walked the property before, I had some goats down there at one point, and I had a fence along the tree line, which I have taken down. Obviously, I don't have a good plan, but because some of you have walked the property, I was kind of hoping you might be a little familiar with
Yeah,
it.
Do you
yeah.
remember it, Dave?
Yeah, just.
I do,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
yeah.
already
looking
the
up.
gravel area.
I
I
do
didn't see
remember.
it, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
rely on,
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm just doing my Google Earth thing real quick. Bear with me.
I'm getting more like Savory every day. I think what Savory's probably gonna say,
Is there any way to move,
that's what I
you know,
think
move
Savory's
the
gonna
garage,
say, is
yeah,
to
as
move the
far
garage
out of
out.
the 65 as you
So,
could?
yeah,
As far, what, back towards the house?
Yeah, like as far out of the 65 foot
Yeah.
so
as possible?
the one thing is, it's not just the 65 foot, it's the proximity to the brook that runs on that property too, so that
Right.
it's actually a long, there needs to be a bigger buffer than 65 feet.
Well, if it's a brook, if it's a.
If it's the river, then it's got
If
the
it's a
200
river, it's
foot.
200
It's
feet.
200 feet.
Yeah, which the river is out, but where the tree line is and it starts getting wet,
Mhm.
it's probably 70 feet, I would think.
Yeah, as I said, I you know, only because you know, I don't see on here where the line is.
Right.
We just need more information.
Yeah. Okay. So I would definitely want to try to keep at least 60 feet away from that tree line
Yeah.
where the
I mean, I think,
wet ground is.
I think
right?
he'd be okay for riverfront stuff. I think he'd be okay as long as it's outside the 100 foot, because it's already kind of degraded, you know, so you can do stuff within the 200 foot. But, you know, he still has a 65 foot from the wetland itself, so. So that would have to be, you know, delineated. You have to have the wetlands delineated and show where the 100-foot riverfront and the 200-foot and the
Yeah.
100-foot buffer and the 60.
I think that line's tighter than you think,
Right.
but I don't know.
Yeah, without the drawing, could the garage go on the other side of the house?
I don't think I have
I was just
enough
thinking.
property to put it on the other side.
So then you'd need a variance from zoning in order to
Right.
relieve you from the setback's only 15 feet, 10 feet.
I think I only have 20 feet
Oh, I
to
don't
my
know, from
property.
zoning?
Yeah.
I think zoning's
From
10
what, the
feet
road?
detached,
Oh,
side setback.
I don't.
I think it's
yeah,
30
I'm not
feet
sure.
attached, I think it's 10 feet detached. Is that right, Jim?
Sorry. Go ahead.
Freestanding building, I think it's, the setback is 10 feet from the side lot if
Yes.
it's detached, 30 if it's attached.
Yes,
I think I only have 20 from my house to my lot line.
So you
Yeah,
So
need-
this is not to scale.
So we need to
Which
go to
I
some-
would expect, to have the lot surveyed and go through that, which I almost wanted to do anyways, but as far as the lot lines go. I
Yeah,
know I
you-
am pushing that 60, I'm pushing that mark.
How big is the garage?
I was gonna try to keep it under 700 square feet, so it's just under 24 by 30. One car garage,
If we get it tighter to the house, you might have a shot at it, but
yeah.
it's looking like there's the vast majority of this, if it's where you say it is gonna be in the 65. And the only way we're gonna know is to file an NOI and then get us a set of drawings that's gonna show the setbacks and show
Okay,
delineate the wetlands, the 65, the 100, and then if it is the Wewiantic River, the 200.
okay.
I mean, it's certainly something we'd be happy to take up. We can't sit back and say no, but we
Right.
can't tell you
Well,
that it's a
yes.
slam dunk either.
Understood. Okay, so I'll work with
You work with Frank
I'm gonna
Nichols?
call Brad, Webby Engineer.
Oh, Webby, they're gonna, so he'll have a wetlands person and everything, yeah.
And they have
Joe Webby,
Brad.
my
I
God.
forget his name.
Still
Holmes?
alive?
Yes,
Oh, Brad Holmes, so they use Brad to do the delineation, yeah,
Brad's gonna come out.
Oh, good.
Which I've already talked to him.
Oh, perfect.
I was gonna,
yeah.
he told me to call him after the
Yeah.
talk.
And he can figure out the issues, as far as what you can do in the
Yeah,
100 foot and the 200 foot.
yeah.
And,
He seems.
yeah, he's very good, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Greg.
Thanks for coming.
All right, request for enforcement order, Ricketts Pond Business Park.
So I gave you a copy of a request that we got from Save the Pine Barrens it was a demand for an enforcement order. It was pretty much, well, specifically for the two file numbers that it mentions. The first one for Lot 1, where we looked at, it has the stormwater.
Excuse me, point of order.
This is a board discussion. We're not taking any,
It's a conflict of interest that you're sitting on.
we are not taking
What?
any, we are not taking any public comment.
But it's a
Mr. Farini,
conflict of
we are not
interest that
taking
you
any
brought on the
public-
board tonight Because we are talking about a gentleman that you were doing business with, therefore it's a conflict of interest and you should remove yourself.
Thank you. We are not taking any public comment. Do you understand me?
But I'm asking you.
Do you
to
understand
remove
me?
yourself. Yes, but it's a
Thank you.
conflict of interest.
Thank you.
You're not voting, so it's
Continue.
not a conflict. You're
Correct.
not voting on anything, so it's
No,
not a
it isn't
conflict of
a
interest.
conflict.
This is a
You work for
board,
him.
this is a
Doesn't
board,
matter.
this is a board discussion. There is no public comment. I'll not tolerate any more outbursts. Do you understand?
I hear you.
Thank you.
But you're also not voting on anything, so why is it a conflict?
Continue, please.
You're allowed to talk. Okay, so we received the letter, and so it was on the two files, the two orders of conditions that we've issued. One for the Lot 1, which has a stormwater detention basin, and the lot next to it with the commercial buildings. So they've listed a bunch of reasons that, they're in violation of the orders. And so I responded saying that we've done numerous site visits. They've always, if there's been any issues out there, they've always let us know, and if there has been an issue, like with erosion controls, they always replace them if needed, and so they've been, very cooperative. So I pretty much responded by saying that we haven't, the commission hasn't found any violations. You've all been out there a number of times. So,
This is this letter here.
yeah. And then the letter from them is, I think, underneath it, right?
Yeah. So it's in your view, you find no basis for the enforcement order?
No, because I think, and because I like say, we've all been out there numerous times and nobody has found any issues. So I think they're, they're still, obviously still working and, working on the projects and stuff, but,
Jim?
what do we think? And, I mean, and then there is a comment saying, you know, that the work occurring on the property is not authorized by the orders. I mean, you issued the orders of conditions, so you authorized the work on those lots under those file numbers. So I'm not, I don't agree with that at all, but.
Yeah. There's a, there's a note of some special conditions. What are those? Other than,
Yeah, I don't have the orders with me,
okay.
but they were, that's the attachment A that we have with, yeah, those were,
Okay.
you know, probably for erosion controls. I have to look back. I can't remember exactly what the special conditions were, but.
I didn't recall seeing special conditions.
The letter from this Meares Harrington refers to a statement by Scott Horsley and so on. Could we get copies of that?
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Okay.
Apparently they had him go out.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen it. Let me take a look.
That
But yeah,
went to the planning board last night, they got that.
oh, from Scott
And
Horsley?
I don't think we got it.
Yeah, no, we didn't.
They didn't write it to us. Then I guess we can ignore it.
It might have been in the packet. I'm sorry, it might have been in the packet that they sent, because they sent copies of the orders. So it could be in there. I mean, I can run down and see if it's down there if you want to
Hold on a minute.
look at it, but.
I don't see any special conditions. No. This is the same thing they've been talking about right along, the violations. It's out of, it's not authorized by the order. The work threatens the public and private. There was blah, 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 and it's the same stuff.
And it's referring to a lot of the other work that's probably not even within your jurisdiction on the rest of the site.
That's
I
correct.
think, don't you think? I mean, I think it's, so some of it wouldn't, you know, you really don't even have jurisdiction over some of the stuff that's outside on Pekin Pond, so.
They have 3 major violations here that they list, right? And you looked at all those, right? I mean, like sediment in the pond, all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, every time we've been out there, we haven't seen
I
anything.
haven't seen anything, yeah.
So
And the-
can
and the-
somebody, I'm sorry to interrupt, Mr. Chair, can somebody explain to me, as it pertains strictly to the Conservation Commission's duties, what is that issue that we are addressing that is within our purview?
This is an all-encompassing planning board, conservation commission, earth removal, and anything else I can throw the blade at the wall for to try to stop the project. That's what this boils down to.
Yeah.
You know, you got the kind of language in this is aerial photographs and video that Mr. Horsley reviewed indicate that mining activities on the property appear to be within 4 feet. Well, how do you tell something's within 4 feet from an aerial photograph?
I mean, the only way is...
Was it
the
a
only
picture
way
of
is
a
if-
puddle in the street, or
No, I
what
mean,
the hell was it?
The only way would be if there is some unknown object that we can scale out to make everything else to scale.
It's up to the pleasure of the board what you guys want to do with this. We can take no action on it, we can set it aside, you can take it up at the next meeting, you can put it on for a public hearing, or we can just ignore
I
it.
mean, you could always,
Conservation agent has gone out there, she's found no violations that relate to anything on this paper.
I mean,
This is just
would-
the next step in their process.
what we could do is, could get the letter from Scott. We could all get a copy of that, then we could all go out and see
Point by
if what
point.
he's talking about is true.
That's what you wanna
I
do?
personally appreciate that.
Yes,
I'm
I'd
fine
like
with
it.
it.
Yes.
All right.
Just
I
address
certainly
these
don't-
3 violations, right?
Right, but let me get a copy of, is that his letter right there that she's,
I do not have that.
yeah, okay.
That sounds like a good idea, actually. So,
I don't have that.
Oh, okay, so it's probably in the packet that I have.
It's in the
I'm sorry.
packet because
Yeah.
it came up, it was
Yeah.
in the packet for
Attachment
conservation,
C.
for
Okay.
planning.
When that's scheduled, is that going to serve as sort of a field TRC? Are we going to have earth removal and somebody from earth removal, somebody from,
I would tend to doubt that.
okay.
Probably not.
Only because, you know, for,
You have to understand that this is an active construction site.
oh yeah.
So,
I
you
get
know,
it.
you go dragging the planning board down there and then earth removal, then us.
Yeah.
You disrupt the whole operation.
Yeah.
So it's probably better that, the planning board I know is scheduling a site visit for the 3 sites they tried to approve last night,
Okay.
and they're gonna do that. We should probably take a site visit and address the issues that are entered into the letter from
Yeah, I'll
this
take
other
it-
guy.
Right, take his letter and then,
I'm just always curious if there's some disconnect between the different committees of, there's some information, I hear that there's some piece of information that planning got that we don't have. I'd like to see that.
it
Well, there's a
probably
lot
is,
of, there's a lot of cross,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of cross argument.
Sure.
Some of the stuff will deal with wetlands stuff that is on our purview, and then there's other issues that they're dealing with that are across the other side of the yard that are nowhere near the wetlands and have nothing to do with us. That's
Right.
earth removal.
which would be earth removal, yeah.
Yeah, no.
And
there's-
yet we have an approved subdivision that by the own bylaws doesn't require an earth removal permit. So the whole thing is, there's a whole bunch of, you know, this is 3.5 years later.
Yeah. No, there's a whole lot of linkage that is why they have the different committees. I get
Yeah.
that. I'm just trying to identify where maybe some gaps are that are causing some of these problems or potential problems. That's all. So, yeah, site visit, copies of,
Yeah.
Yeah.
copies of whatever, whether it's,
Yeah.
and whether it's
It probably
directly-
was in the packet that I got, it was huge, so I didn't have, yeah. I didn't-
Yeah, I know, but,
Yeah.
you know, because, to the chair's point, because there is linkage between what we're responsible for and what earth removal looks at and what planning looks at. Even though we may not have say or vote on it, we can give guidance from our perspective as well, because I think people are fooling themselves if they think that there isn't substantial linkage
Right.
between all these
Right.
and this.
I mean, I think the earth removal permit was probably issued way back when it started, right?
Was issued initially, yeah.
Right? And do you remember that, Jim?
Yeah,
That was issued before the subdivision, and then the subdivision was approved.
Right.
it's probably at least 2.5 years
More
old.
than that.
Yeah, and
soon,
I thought that when they bought that property, that was part of the agreement. The person who bought that property had to develop it into an office park and not make it something else. Wasn't that true?
Well, there were, the state reviewed plans where
Right.
they decided what they didn't
Right.
want.
What they didn't want, right.
We're not taking public comment.
I was just
Dorothy.
gonna offer you a copy of Mr. Horsley's report.
Yeah, but we only have one copy, we'd all have to take the time to read it, so I think we'll just schedule this for the next meeting. When probably Savory is here, we'll have a full board
Yeah, we can do a site visit before that.
and do a site visit.
Take the letter
before
and,
then.
yeah.
But thank you. That gonna work for everybody?
Yeah?
Just do it that way?
Okay.
And if you want to reach out, in fact, if you want to reach out to Bobby and see if he wants to be there that day, Jim, or I can give him a call and invite him.
Okay, yeah, that would
Let's
be,
pick a, why don't we just do that right now? Let's get a date.
For site visit?
Yeah, why not?
Saturday would probably be good, best for Bobby.
Can we do a Saturday?
He's busy through all the week.
Could do it the Saturday before the next meeting.
I'm going to ask the property owner. Can we do a
Oh,
Saturday?
that's 4th of July weekend.
Oh dear, that's not too cool.
Saturdays or after 5 at night.
And that's 4th of July weekend.
Yeah.
So?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Some people do things on holiday weekends.
So? We don't have to do it the 4th of July weekend. Why can't we do it the 25th, next weekend?
Oh, next week. We still have next weekend.
This is the 15th.
Right.
We could do it the 25th.
In the morning.
Okay.
I can do that.
Next okay. And meanwhile, I'll get you guys all copies of his letter for you to look at first.
It's my only free Saturday of the summer, so let's do that one.
Say that, huh?
It's my
Yeah.
only free Saturday of the summer, so let's do that
Oh,
one.
okay.
I won't be here.
On the 25th?
Yeah.
Where are we going?
I'm going to Hudson, New York, and Schenectady.
Not acceptable, you have to be there.
I'm taking part in a 3-day music festival.
Even more
Where I
not
will
acceptable.
trill along.
It's all right, we'll pass on the information. Can we do the 25th, Mr. Opachinski?
25th.
25th? At, pick a time, boys.
10?
10.
10's good.
You like this late stuff, huh?
Oh, I don't like early.
Nine.
I was thinking like 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right.
Go get breakfast.
Yeah, 8 o'clock would probably be a bit better, really.
Honestly, can we do 9?
That's fine.
Yep.
9's fine by me.
Brooke doesn't look happy.
Okay.
Just because it's cocktails after 10 doesn't mean we have to start
That's
after
not my
10.
reason. I have to play with my cats.
There you go. 9 o'clock, all
9
right?
o'clock on the 25th? All
I
right.
don't want to blow the whole day. We'll just order savory.
Okay, so meanwhile, I'll email you his letter, so you can
Yeah,
look at it ahead
please.
of time.
All right, so that's,
So are you gonna see if you can get, the earth removal guy?
I'll check and see if Bobby can
Oh.
do it, yeah.
Or do you know him, Alan? I mean, if Jim's not gonna be there,
Who,
the.
Bobby?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you talk to him,
Yeah,
see
I'll
if he
call
could
Bobby.
make it?
There's another member of the earth removal that probably would be available to Bill Garnett.
I mean, they probably won't have a whole lot to say, will they?
I don't think so
It's
either,
kind
but
of
you know,
ongoing-
sooner or later, we're going to have to get everybody on the same page.
I mean, because this
Because
is
they're
a-
just going to keep bouncing from board to board to board to board to board, and, you know, then we'll get nothing done.
Right.
It's
But
got to
then
get, this has
it-
got to get done.
Isn't earth removal like an ongoing thing that they renew every so
Well,
often?
yeah, but it's
So-
ongoing.
Yeah.
The permit's been renewed. They just,
Right.
you know,
So-
planning board just gave another extension.
So I don't
Most-
think, I mean, I'm just thinking that earth removal is not gonna have a heck of a lot to say.
Well,
If
this
if they've
is
been
not your
getting all-
standard earth removal project. A lot of those
Oh,
are
it's not, oh,
4 and 5 years in length,
oh,
where they get reviewed at the end of each year,
yeah.
and there are frequently visits at 6 months. But we'll see. I remember walking it twice. Once was long before SLT got involved,
Yeah,
when the guy was first cutting that notch through the hill. And-
Well, that was before all that even started.
Yeah.
That was way
Yeah,
back.
his aim was to just scarf as much sand and loam out of the hill and they could sell and get out of town. That's then the state put their foot down on it and threw him off the project.
Okay, so 25th it is, 9 o'clock. I'll get a hold of Bobby. Update from the conservation agent on DEP appeals.
You have the letters. These were the RDA appeals. And we have 3 decisions. I believe it's 0 Plymouth Street, Weston, Foley Farms, 105 Rochester Road, and
0 Ward,
Cedar Meadow. Yep, 0 Ward.
0 Ward Street, 0 Plymouth Street,
Yeah.
and 105 Rochester.
So if you remember, the issue for the RDAs was whether the work was agricultural or not. So DEP has come back and has agreed with the fact that it's agricultural.
So they've supported the decision of the Conservation
Yep.
Commission on all 3
On all
of these.
3, yeah.
Any comments?
That's not exactly how I read this.
One.
Well, it says that they found that the project exceeded the 10,000 square foot limit. And so while it, and that's one of the parameters for,
That's on 0 Ward. On 0 Ward.
so it is in fact subject to regulation. The activity requires a filing. So, doesn't mean it can't happen. but it does require a filing.
Oh, it does, I'm sorry, on Zero Wood, yes, that was the one part in the back.
Mhm.
So yes,
Well,
if it altered, yep.
You wanna let them know that?
Oh, they've gotten this,
Mm.
Yep.
This is the Pontiff,
yep,
right?
that's right, I forgot, yep.
I would just give them a heads up because I read it twice before I was like, well,
I know, I just realized that too.
Well, that was the one,
Remember down in the back, they were cutting through,
yeah, there was that old marsh,
yes,
and they were trying to enlarge their reservoir.
yep. So, and that was quite a bit of alteration, so,
So they gotta do a notice of intent.
yeah. But
so
I think it
Zero
was,
Plymouth says it does meet the requirement.
yeah.
Okay. And then
Hey, Dave.
I'm getting faster at this now that I see how their verbiage goes. And then, according to them, 105 also meets the
Yeah.
exemption criteria.
Right.
Okay. So just so Zero Ward doesn't get themselves in hot water, I would just give them a
Yeah.
follow-up
Yeah.
heads up, just as a courtesy.
I think they wasn't, I think, for some reason I thought I remembered that they, if it was gonna be an issue, that they didn't necessarily have to do it. They wanted to, but then, I don't know, I can't remember. But anyway, it's up to them if they
Yeah.
wanna, you know.
If they wanna file the NOI,
Right,
go through it,
right.
that's right.
Right.
You know what it is, I read the back part where it said they issued the notice. Proposed project of construction water in
Yeah.
is facility meets the criteria of agriculture. So Rochester Road's the same thing.
Yeah, Rochester and Weston.
Yeah, the highlights are all hidden in the middle of the third
Yeah, they
paragraph
are,
on
they
our
really
folder.
are.
I know.
And this is the first time I've seen one of his explanations. So.
Yeah. Buried the lead.
Okay, so that's that. No minutes.
No minutes?
You wanna reach out to Pontiff and just let him know?
Yeah, I will. I'll talk to Sue
So-
and just make sure and see what they're gonna do.
New hearing, 22 South Main Street. This is an RDA, request for determination of applicability. Notice is hereby given in accordance with Mass Wetlands Protection Act, MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw that a public hearing will be held at 7:15 on Wednesday, June 15th, in Meeting Room 1 at Carver Town Hall to hear a request for determination of applicability, RDA, filed by Pierre Cole, to determine whether the proposed work, installation of a fence, is subject to the Wetlands Protection Act and whether the area and/or work depicted on reference plans is subject to the jurisdiction of any municipal wetland ordinance or bylaw of the town of Carver. The property is located at 22 South Main Street, Carver, Mass., Lot Map 2, Lot 15. All interested parties are invited to attend.
Evening. Evening, Commission members. My name is Ivo Cole. I am Pierre Cole's son, and I reside at 22 South Main Street, looking to see if I can install this fence along the front edge of the property down to the edge of the water. It's a black wrought iron fence, a little over 4.5 feet tall, with a sliding gate on the front. But
We were lurking in your backyard today.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, we were snooping around.
I hope
We were
my
snooping
dogs
around.
didn't bother you at all.
No, there were no dogs.
Nobody's there.
No dogs. We thought we weren't sure what you were doing with the fence, so.
Sure.
Are you creating a pen for the animals, or?
That's pretty much the intent, yeah, that's what
And
it's for.
You're going to the boat, or you're going to the water's edge?
I'm looking to go to the water's edge.
Okay.
Try
Same
it
kind of
invisible.
wrought iron you got around the pool?
Similar,
Yeah,
it's similar to
it's
that,
similar,
right?
yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
much the same one. That wrought iron fence around the pool is the 100-foot setback. So I know it goes all the way down to the water's edge, so obviously it's,
How much fenced-in area?
the
You're gonna
actual.
go from the edge of the pavement? Where's the fence gonna start?
So the fence is gonna start at the driveway where that stone wall is.
Hmm?
I'm gonna put I was looking to put the fence just on the street side of that stone wall. And then to the property's edge, down the end, all the way down to the pond on either side.
Oh, I got the picture.
So you're going from Main Street?
No, not from the street.
Oh, okay.
From about the middle of the driveway.
That's a picture of the fence.
The plan that I provided, if you see the orange line, I know it's kind of small, the orange dotted line,
Yeah,
the green lines are where the
Oh, I see what- okay,
existing
all right.
stone wall is.
Now I got you.
Yeah, so that orange dotted line is where I'm looking to put the fence.
And where's the gate going to access the pond?
The,
Because you have a
Pink
dock down
line?
there too, right?
I'm sorry?
You have a dock down there also, right?
There's a dock, that's in the middle of the, it's not, I'm not looking to put the fence across the water's edge. I'm just looking to come to the water's edge on either side.
Oh,
Oh, so
okay.
the dog
Oh,
will go
yeah.
in the water.
So there's no fence going across the water?
That's right, no fence going
Well,
across the
that-
water. No.
Was it me? I thought that's what he was doing, was
Oh, I
fencing
know.
the whole
No,
backyard to the water line.
So that's where the dog can go in the water.
Yeah, so the dogs can
Okay.
still go in the water. I have an invisible fence right now, but they don't like to listen to that. So they like to
Do you blame
push
'em?
through and bother the neighbors,
I
so
don't blame them.
I'm
How are you
trying
gonna
to.
do, we had one question about how are you gonna do the supports? Were you gonna dig holes and sink concrete, or were you gonna just get long poles and drive them in? Or how are you gonna stabilize the fence?
The fence installation shows to go 2 feet into the ground with cement. But if within the 100-foot barrier you guys want me to do something different, I can do something different on that. I can talk to my contractor.
The concrete's probably more stable, but it's more, I don't know, do you have to put the concrete?
You know what Sager would say? He's gonna want the replication for the disturbed area. Because technically that's, I think you'd be better off to get a
Without the concrete?
6-foot post and drive that in
Okay.
and not use any cement.
Hmm,
Or,
Sure.
You know,
yeah, that way
'cause
there's
then you're
no,
really disturbing nothing.
and there's really no
Right.
Because the posts are hollow.
impervious other than the
So,
post.
yeah, so you can drive
Yeah,
it in.
if it gets driven in and
Yeah.
it holds, yeah, that should be fine.
If that can,
I don't have any
an
problem with that.
alternative to digging holes and pouring cement would be ideal.
Sounds like it would be cheaper too.
Probably
I'll have to
less
have a
time,
conversation
yeah.
with my contractor.
What do you think, Jim?
I would agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're not disturbing the vegetation or anything like that. It's just, it looked pretty clear all the way down.
yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't have to cut any trees or anything, it's all
Nope.
already cleared.
No cutting of any trees. Just trying to make a natural barrier and trying to make it kind of blend in a little bit, so black wrought iron to try to keep it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it matches the pool.
And it matches the pool.
It's real nice back there. Dan?
So if we're discussing, so this wall, this green line represents the existing stone wall,
Correct.
okay? And you're planning on going all the way down to the water?
Yes.
Okay. So, I don't know how the commission feels about breaking that 65-foot mark from, maybe it's, from the water, it's, you know, I think we're trying to avoid more construction and building from that 100 mark to a water source. So, you know, the idea is that this is going to keep the dogs from escaping or whatever. But if it's from a practical standpoint, that's not within our purview, but wouldn't really prevent anything if they want to dip their toes and then sneak around the fence too.
So I actually have thought of that as well, and I'm putting an invisible fence around just the front of that fence as well, and along the water's edge, and which is just one wire, one small black wire. So that way even if they once they approach the water's edge, they can only get so far, and then they have to get turned around. Whereas on land, they approach that invisible fence, get zapped, and keep running. So this is just that physical barrier to stop them from keep running when they get zapped.
Gotcha.
I still think it's not an RDA. I think it's going to have to be an NOI and a variance request.
Yeah.
Brooke?
Well, I
It's within
mean,
65 feet of the pond.
right.
Any alterations within 65 feet is going to require a variance. The next hearing coming up is going to be for a well.
Yep.
So how can you,
It's gotta be same.
got to be same.
Hmm.
Sorry. Rules are rules. Change the bylaws.
Yeah.
Have a town vote on it.
We've had to grant a variance for a fence around a pool where the fence dipped into the 65.
You did
Where the
require,
pool was outside the 65, but the fence for the pool was within the 65.
where was that one?
Down on, off of Indian. We had to grant a variance because that little bit of that fenced
Yeah.
area dipped into the 65.
But she had filed a notice of intent for the pool.
Yeah,
Anyway.
but she didn't need to because it didn't need a variance. It just needed an okay, it was outside the 100. It was, I'm sorry, it was outside the 65 within the 100, so it just needed an approval.
Oh.
But because the fence impinged on the 65, it had to have a variance. So we've done it in
I
the
forget that
past.
one, yeah.
Jim?
I have no problem with the proposal. Just exactly how it has to come in as a RDA or otherwise. That's your decision.
I mean, if he's gonna go down there and drive,
I mean, it's not, because you're not going across the water, there's not
Yeah.
a lot in the 65,
Okay, great.
really.
and what do we tell the next person that comes in and says, you know, oh geez, you know, the Cole's got to put a fence down the whole side to the water's edge, what do you mean I can't do this?
Right.
You know, I'm only putting a little tiny gazebo in, why do I need a variance?
Yep.
It's gonna sit on the ground and not even have a foundation. You know, we need to have some consistency.
You sounded more and more like Savory.
Don't.
So what happens when you sit in that chair?
I know, and you could lose a little bit of your mind. I promised Bob I'd be Mr. Fluffy tonight.
I mean, can you issue a variance if it's an RDA?
You need to do an NOI and issue a variance.
You can't really separate that.
You can do anything you want until somebody.
Or if you want to
tries
stay
do
out of the
same thing.
65 and continue with the electric fence from that on down to the water.
Yeah, but that lets you do 35 feet of fence down both sides, and then you have to stop,
Yeah.
Right.
And
which
that's it.
defeats the entire purpose.
Right.
Because if they're not gonna pay attention to the invisible fence, then then it looks goofy, like, you know, you couldn't afford to finish it.
Yeah, it would look dumb.
I mean, no disrespect, that's
No,
what
no, I
happened.
get
When
it.
you look
Yeah,
at the
no,
fence
you're
ends,
right. It would
It's
look,
like, geez, you know, what
Yeah.
happened?
and I know the dogs. They'll,
I think you're better off doing an NOI, seriously, do an NOI with a request for a variance. Do the drawing up so that we have a little bit better idea of where it's going. If you can drive the poles into the ground, great, but you're gonna have to bring equipment in there to do that. If you have to dig a hole, then I suspect that there's gonna be, you know, some issue with the disturbed earth within 65 feet of the pond. I'm just trying to head off the
Yeah, oh no, I know, yeah,
complaint.
yeah.
And I don't think any of that's a big deal. You know what I mean?
Right.
We don't need engineering drawings.
No.
And this can be accomplished by the next meeting,
okay,
which is the...
Probably not,
no,
Why?
because it has to be advertised. First of all, I gotta get the stuff from them, I have to do a public hearing
Yeah,
notice,
that's
it's
right.
gonna be a month at least.
So
Liz Joe, he
mid-July.
knows,
So it's Mitchell. How soon were you
it's a
gonna do this?
process with the newspaper.
Yeah. How soon did you want to do this? Yesterday.
I already bought the materials. I know that they're like a month out, but that was a couple of weeks ago. I was in anticipation of today's meeting, but
I'll go along with the board, but I think that, you know, we're swaying from,
If you wanted to just put the fence just across the property, but stay out of the 65, you know what I'm saying? Like, go 65 in and just go across the frontage there.
Yeah,
Would that work for you?
But that doesn't make much room, though.
it
doesn't
makes
make-
like a box in
Yeah,
the middle
yeah.
of the
splits your
property.
backyard in half.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm
That's
trying not to make my house
Yeah,
a
I
kennel.
got it.
Yeah, it doesn't, wouldn't leave much room to run
Yeah.
around, really.
Yeah.
Dan?
As you say, I'd like to just be consistent.
Jim?
Yeah, I would agree with Dan.
I think we gotta be consistent, yeah.
Okay.
So, we're gonna need to vote on this RDA and suggest that you come back in with an NOI. The sooner you can produce the NOI, since Jill's in the audience, thank you, Jill. How soon can you get this in the paper? If he comes back in tomorrow morning with the paperwork for an NOI, what's the deadline for the paper?
Next Wednesday,
And it would be published?
that Friday,
So technically, you could do it, because the next meeting's 3 weeks.
but Brooks not.
It would be July, it would be the second one in July.
Why couldn't it be the first one in July?
That's July 6th. You couldn't do by the 6th.
Isn't that what we did today?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Today's the
So,
15th.
6th, I keep thinking.
Yeah, so if you get it in tomorrow, it goes in next Wednesday, the 22nd, it's out for publication on the 25th, how come that gives you almost 2 weeks before the 6th?
I mean, I could publish the ad before I actually get the notice
Yeah,
itself.
put the ad out,
Yeah,
so, because that's the key.
It takes a while to fill a notice of intent. I don't know if you've ever done it, but it's more complicated than it.
I've
should
done
be.
it, but I can come in tomorrow and take some time.
Yeah,
I don't
and-
have a problem with that.
I mean, I can put the ad in, get the ad in by
That's all.
next week.
Tomorrow's the deadline for the ad, right?
No, next
Wednesday.
No, so
Oh, Wednesday's the deadline, so you could do it Monday or Tuesday?
Mondays, we close, holiday.
Tuesday.
Another holiday. Jeez, I gotta get a job in the municipal.
And I'm not in tomorrow, Friday.
All right, so Tuesday.
So Tuesday.
And you still can get it in by Wednesday. They still can publish it by the weekend. You can still do something with the 6th. Why don't we just do that? Fair enough?
I mean, it wouldn't be a complicated notice of intent. It would be,
No, it's very simple.
like you say, if you don't think
I
it's a
can
survey
take a
or
stab
doing
at
that
it
stuff.
tomorrow, and then I can bring it in on Tuesday
Yeah.
and discuss with you if I need to make
Yeah.
any
That work
changes.
for you?
Okay,
Yeah,
because
That's a
half of it's
better
not
idea.
even going to
that
apply.
sounds good.
Okay.
You know what I mean? A lot of the stuff, the pages of it that are not even applicable to
Sure.
what we're doing.
Would I need some other plan, some more detailed plan, I think I heard?
I think we'd like a little bit, maybe you can blow this one up and give us a little
I
bit
can do
better
that.
detail.
Yeah, it printed out a little small.
Jim doesn't
on
see
the-
so good now, so he likes to have it, you know.
I wanted to have the full plot
Oh, yeah.
plan on there. I thought that would be better. I thought that would be better than just zooming in, but I can zoom in just
Yeah,
so
if you
that it.
can, you know, give us
Yeah,
some,
that's fine.
you know.
Yep, I can add that.
Why don't we, I think we just make a motion to deny the hearing, to deny the RDA, well, approve it, and then everybody would vote no. I hate reverse motions. So I'd like the motion to approve the RDA for 22 South Main Street.
But
As
then
written.
require a notice of intent. So you really
Haven't
kind
got to
of,
that yet.
yeah, so you're not really approving the
no.
RDA, you're just saying, because you're saying that what he's requested does require a notice of intent. So
Right.
this becomes the point.
Right, but I'm making a motion, I want a motion to approve this, and then we would vote no. I
Oh, I
don't
see.
like
Okay.
reverse motions,
I see,
because
okay.
when no's mean yes, everything gets confused.
Right.
So I need a motion to approve the RDA for 22 South Main Street.
So you're issuing a positive determination, not a negative one.
Also move.
Second.
Okay, so a motion's made and seconded to issue a positive
Positive.
determination for 22 South Main Street on the RDA. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. And it's a positive determination, which is another government fiasco, which means you lose.
That's
I never understood
first
this.
time up here,
Yeah.
and I lost. Love it. No.
Positive's a bad thing, negative's
Yeah.
a good thing.
Yeah.
Then they make motions to deny, which means the yes is a no.
Yeah, I understand. The notice of intent. Can I get that online?
Yep.
Okay.
It's at the Mass DEP website,
Mass
and you
DEP
just
website.
go into wetlands and waterways, and then it'll list all the forms.
I'll work on that
Yeah,
tomorrow.
the notice of forms. Okay,
And
It
I'll
should
come
be
back
in
on Tuesday.
Tuesday.
all
I'll
right.
come back on Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
thank you. Have a good
Yeah,
night.
you too.
Take care.
Continued hearings, Lot 3, Ricketts Pond Drive, DEPSE 126
1646.
646.
Yep.
Notice is hereby given in accordance with the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, MGL, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw that a public hearing will be held at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, June 1, 2022, in Meeting Room 1 at the Carver Town Hall to hear the notice of intent submitted on behalf of Bridgestone Development, Inc. for the proposed construction of 2 commercial buildings with associated driveways, parking, closed drainage system, septic system, grading, and landscaping. Portions of the project are within the 100-foot buffer on Ricketts Pond and the associated bordering vegetated wetland. The project is located at Ricketts Pond Drive, off Spring Street, Carver, Mass., map 32, lot 1-3. All interested parties are invited to attend, and you have an amendment to this
I
where
have
they're requesting a variance.
the letter,
I need-
yeah,
I
requesting the
need
variance,
that.
which is what you asked for at the last
Yep.
hearing. And then the only other issue was we didn't have a file number at that time.
Right, so now we have a file number.
Yeah.
And this is the letter requesting that this be amended to be on behalf of the applicant, we hereby request a variance from Section 1C3 of the Carver Wetland Protection Bylaw for the subject. Notice of intent submission submitted for Lot 3 on the Ricketts Pond Business Park subdivision. The variance from Section, I think that's IC3, of the Carver Wetland Protection Bylaw will be required to locate the proposed potable well and incidental site grading within the 65-foot buffer, no impervious, to bordering vegetated wetland resource areas. Please refer to the site plans entitled Site Development Plans, Ricketts Pond Business Park, Lot 3, APN 32-1-3, off Spring Street, Carver, Mass., prepared by McKenzie Engineering Group and dated March 21st, 2022, for more information regarding the proposed work.
So those are the plans you looked at last.
Right, and in full disclosure, I have no business with this development. I have no business with the purchaser of these lots. Excuse me, I'm not done.
All right. Finish.
I contract haul from this site. I have no financial interest in anything being built on that piece of property right there. I have nothing to do with that piece of property. I don't work for that developer. I don't work for that contractor. I don't even know who that contractor is. So based on that, you may continue.
I'd like to, point of order. You work for SLT, who owns the land, who just sold.
Has nothing to do with me.
Who has piles of dirt on that area that still have.
Has nothing to do with me. That is my decision.
Removed from this meeting.
That is my decision.
I am asking you.
And it's denied.
This meeting.
Thank you.
We'll take it up with the town hall.
Take it up anywhere you want to take it up.
I will.
But Alan, this hearing is only for this.
That is correct.
Commercial building.
This
It's
is not on the
anything
entire
else on the
site. This has nothing to do with SLT. This has nothing to do with any work I perform. It has been fully disclosed, and it is up to me whether I choose to recuse myself or not.
Then I am asking you to accuse yourself and step aside and let this meeting go without you.
Thank you. That is denied.
Good evening, Commission members. Eric Shoemaker, professional engineer with McKenzie Engineering Group. Since we last met, there's been no revisions to the plan. I'd just like to remind everyone this is for the notice of intent, which, as we discussed, is a portion of the parking lot as well as that potable well and site grading located to the rear of the lot. Has nothing to do with the earth removal being conducted on the current subdivision. So just as we discussed last time, I forwarded that variance request letter. We received the DEP file number.
Yep.
And we made some headway last night, introduced the project to the planning board. That's pretty much our progress now. I can answer any questions.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you to maybe get a little more detailed in your presentation. Do we have copies of the plan?
I can go through the whole
I have a
introduction.
couple.
Only because these two gentlemen weren't here, and I think it's unfair to them. It's
Yeah.
also unethical if we ask them to vote on something and they did not hear the presentation.
Yeah.
We never adopted the bylaw where they could watch this on YouTube and then come in and make a decision. So
Yeah.
I'd like to have them afforded the opportunity to answer questions if they have any.
So I'll just start from the beginning, I'll be very brief. The site's
you don't
located
mind, Dave.
at Lot 3 of the Ricketts Pond Business Park subdivision in Carver. It's about 3.91 acres. We're located in the Spring Street Innovation Zoning District, and we're bordered by Ricketts Pond to the east, Route 44 to the northwest, undeveloped woodlands to the north, and Spring Street to the south. The parcel is currently comprised of an earth removal and mining operation, and the lot, as it's constituted currently, consists of sand and gravel stockpiles. As with every lot in this development, prior to the beginning of construction of the site, the proposed lot is going to be dug down to about 1 foot below the proposed grade. That's currently the conditions for lots 1 and 2 across the street. Bordering vegetated wetlands are located along the eastern portion of the lot. These were delineated by Brad Holmes of Environmental Consulting and Restoration, LLC, on February 6, 2018, and ORAD approved that limit of bordering vegetated wetlands and that was issued July 9th, 2018. A separate notice of intent was submitted for the basins and roadway. That was made when we were permitting the definitive subdivision. So that notice of intent was dated April 12th, 2019, and we received an order of conditions for that dated May 29th of 2019. So moving on to the site layout plan, sheet C1. As you'll see on the plan, this shows the proposed conditions of the site, such as the proposed buildings, the setback, the surface treatments. So the development is going to consist of two 7,452 square foot commercial buildings. They're going to be a very small portion office, we'll say around 25%, and the rest warehouse. Other things to note in the site, the bituminous concrete parking area and 24-foot wide access drives, closed drainage system. As I said earlier, a portion of that bituminous concrete parking area to the rear will be located within the 100-foot buffer zone. That's shown labeled in green on the plan, that buffer zone. It's going to consist of 24 on-site parking spaces with 2 handicap accessible spots. 1 foot wide Cape Cod berm is going to be around the perimeter of all pavement. And loading bays with some overhead doors are going to be located to the rear of the lot. Just to note, this is the same developer as the Form A lot, and that's so this is lot 3. Form A lot is out front here on Spring Street. It's the same developer. We tried to mimic the same footprint, same site design. 5 foot wide cement concrete sidewalks located along the front of each building, dumpster pad to the rear, and the other thing to note in this plan is just the land usage tables at the top of the plan just pretty much shows the requirements of that Spring Street Innovation zoning district versus what we proposed, and we're compliant with all of that. And landscape buffers are going to be provided along the side property lines, as well as some islands to the front and some intermediate islands adjacent to the parking spaces. We're going to get into more detail with that once we get a review letter from the planning board. We usually submit a crude landscaping plan as a first go around and iron out any kinks with the design, and then I got a list of pollinator species from Tom Bott, and we've been incorporating those into our landscaping for the other lots. On sheet number C2, you'll see the grading and drainage plan. Our goal with this drainage design was to design a system that complied with all the local and state stormwater regulations and attenuate the 210, 25, and 100-year storm events. The drainage design was approved and reviewed during that definitive subdivision submittal that was approved by the planning board, and we've really been adding to it as each lot changes with the impervious area. The good thing about this lot is the pavement limits, the buildings, all of that is the same from that original subdivision. So it was pretty easy for us to just check our work on that. But the closed drainage will consist of a series of catch basins and drain manholes to direct that stormwater runoff to the infiltration basin that's located directly to the south, the right-hand portion of the plan. So we have, that basin was over-designed. We have excess freeboard. I think it floods up to about elevation 138, and the top of berm is 140. So we're all compliant with those aspects of design. And just touch on the utilities quickly. Utility design is pretty simple. It's just going to consist of underground electric, telephone, and cable connections. Those are going to originate from Ricketts Pond Drive, go to each building. Each building is going to be serviced by a single septic system. We have really nice sand out here, and the Board of Health has, I think it's an 800 square foot minimum. So it was more cost effective to just route both buildings into a single septic. 1,000-gallon propane tanks are going to be located to the rear of each building, and that potable well we discussed earlier is going to be located in that 65-foot buffer zone. That's all I got, so I'll answer any questions.
Yeah, couple layers to this. Is there a plan that, I almost wish some of these were clear so I could overlap some of the things you got going on in C1 versus C2 because they don't show up. Is there a page where I can kind of see how everything is lining up? The only reason I ask is you've got some stuff that's either tickling or right inside the 65, and you got a lot of square footage to play around with. And I'm just curious, for example, on the north end of things of lot 3, I'm looking at C1, page C1.
Yep.
You've got a proposed cement concrete dumpster pad that's inside. It's outside the 65, inside the 100, but it looks like you'd still be within a setback by shifting it just a few feet north and just making things like that more of a non-issue. So I wasn't sure if I wasn't sure if Carver's
We don't have C1.
Oh, maybe do. Wait.
I wasn't sure if Carver's wetland bylaws were in the consideration for the planning of this is all.
Yeah, we looked at that. We tried to keep those dumpster pads close to the building. I know the building on the left, it'd be easier to move that to the north, like you said. So we can look at that if it's an issue. We just tried to make everything fit here.
Well, basically what'll be an issue across the board, just to kind of have us help yourself with, whether or not this is approved or variances are approved. Variances here are if something is sort of a self-imposed hardship. So, for example, if we see something, well, hey, you can just shoot this over 5 feet.
We don't, but it doesn't need a variance.
No. I'm just as an example. Because some of the, for example, this one parking lot to the south is inside the 65. It looks like it could be shifted.
There's no portions of pavement inside the 65.
What am I looking at then?
I don't know.
What is this?
The green line is the 100-foot buffer
Green line's the
zone.
100.
The red line would be the 65
So
foot.
what is this? What is this dotted?
That's the drainage.
That's the infiltration basin, that dotted line.
This is the drainage ditch.
It's just the outline. And on the next sheet, you'll see the grading, which is, where we berm up.
And I think we issued a variance for this.
We did.
We issued a variance for
And
the
that was
grading.
usually
This is that
stormwater.
huge retention pond. None of this is in the 65.
That was for the
Yeah, that was for
the stormwater.
Yeah. And there's a variance on file for that.
Right.
The only reason he had to come back for a variance at the last meeting, we didn't even notice it until we got into the drawings, that the well was within the 65. And then we needed to also grant the variance for the back grading of that slope. So that caused them to have to come back tonight and change the request. We didn't have a DEP number anyway, and change the request to a variance, but it's only a variance for just the well, which meets the 150-foot setback from the septic system, and the slope.
A little bit of grading.
Yeah, for the little bit of grading on the slope.
To grading to what depth?
Grading from where your parking lot is, right?
Well, yeah,
The-
you
the
didn't-
state
you
to
weren't on
finish
that
the.
site 'cause it wasn't-
So the grading was all established during that original notice of intent submittal for the basin. So the grades back there are required to really berm up and get the freeboard we need for that.
Okay.
And the well, as we mentioned, that's seemed like the best spot for it. I'm trying to keep it away from the septics, and I also don't want to
Well, you
provide
got
any sort of
150-foot
issues.
required setback from the septic.
Yeah. I don't want to put it to the left and affect that lot next to it either, so.
Yeah. From a hydrology standpoint, do you find that this is going to negatively affect the area to the south at all?
To the south, we don't, it complies with all of the Massachusetts stormwater standards. This basin was actually over-designed because we didn't really know what kind of developers would be coming in here, how much pavement they would require. So by oversizing this, as you may know, recharge is calculated below the lowest invert. So by expanding it, we were able to provide the most recharge we could for groundwater.
I don't think they'll ever fill with water.
Yeah.
You?
No,
I'd be surprised if it did.
it's beautiful sand out
It's
there.
also connected to the one on the opposite
Opposite
side.
of, yeah.
There's a leveling
Okay. Oh, on the opposite side of 44.
on the other side.
Yeah.
There's a leveling.
Two basins and kind of like a balancing pipe.
Yeah.
The basin across the street, if it overflows, it'll hit the pipe and go into this one that's oversized.
Okay. Yeah, because obviously with all this going on, I'm just concerned about the budding neighbors.
Yeah.
I didn't realize about the spillway across 44. Okay.
So is the water table basically the pond level?
We conducted some soil testing recently for septic system on lot 1 in this area. This is that other basin I was talking about. So we dug down to elevation 129. Elevation 130 is the pond, and we didn't see seasonal high groundwater. So it's probably just below that. That would make sense.
Yeah.
But I've done other test bits on the site, and we've opened up a giant crater doing these test holes, and we haven't really seen groundwater. So
Jim?
No questions, no.
When you think about it, that pond is very low compared to the site. This,
I
the
think it
pond,
is.
just by looking at it,
Well, we
So
blocked that.
lower, right? That makes
Hmm.
sense.
I haven't walked it since those solar panels went in down in the dip there.
Oh, that's in Plimpton, right?
Oh, oh no, the zero, the solar circle?
Yeah.
That one way back? Yep,
Way back.
yep.
Any question at a time.
Is this a public hearing? Anybody in the audience? Dorothy?
Oh, I'm sorry, if you don't mind, I just have one. This
He
is
does
really-
this all the time, Dorothy, don't worry.
This is really just for the public. There are there are different cases where, because different people are on different committees, I think pretty much everybody here is involved with different aspects of things that go on in town. Just only speaking for myself, I believe there were a couple proposals I had to the Conservation Commission a while back where I actually suggested to them that one, I suggested I be removed from voting, and the other was that I personally didn't see a conflict, and it turned out they didn't either, because I think we're all able to kind of compartmentalize our duties here versus there, even though I wanted to see something get passed. There's never really going to be a case where a commissioner is asked to actually leave, even if there was a hypothetical conflict. But we all do consider whether or not we would abstain from a vote. So I think we all need our minds and thoughts to have a solid debate and back and forth, whether it's for or against any issue, because that's a healthy thing where we exhaust all possibilities to get the best possible result. Okay, and so in light of that, I know one audience member had asked one of the members to remove himself from the room, which is actually not appropriate and not really fair to the process. And while I understand people's concerns, it's one that I wholeheartedly find unnecessary, and I like these discussions to be as productive as possible, and that can only really be achieved by everyone being on hand for back and forth debate, whether we agree with each other or not. And so in light of that, when or if something does come to vote, believe me, we all put our own feet to the fire, as it were, and you know, ask each other, is this okay, is this appropriate or not? And I think we all know the answers to that, whether or not it is in that case. That's all I have to say about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Dorothy, come on up if you want to have a seat. There's a sign-in sheet if you'd be so kind, sometime between now and then.
You don't know who I am.
Yeah, I know it. They knew who I was last night, too. They made me sign in.
I thought that was funny. This one over here?
Sure. That microphone's on, right?
Yeah.
Would you please identify yourself for the listening audience?
Dorothy Paul at 158 High Street. I've been involved with this project since 2018. I'm not opposed to the business park. I do have a great concern for the pond and the vernal pool that is right to the south of Lot 3. I don't know if anybody realizes this, but there has been a significant change in the water level of the pond this year and the vernal pool. Usually it's higher this time of year. After droughts, it would go low. Unfortunately, I think that due to removing the highest peak in Carver, we've lost that water that serves the pond. So I do think that it would behoove all of us if we could have one of those hydro engineers come in and take a look at if indeed any damage has been done already. I'm not trying to stop building 3 from going up, but what I would like to see is the town protecting the vernal pool that is right there next to the drainage pit. And that emergency drain drains right into the vernal pool if they ever have to use it, which they probably won't, but another thought of mine is that I'd really like the town to maintain at least the 65-foot border between the wetlands and the industrial park. I don't think it is too much to ask. I think that we need to protect the wetlands, what we have left. And a wall, 10-foot high stone wall, would protect the wildlife, the water, the sound, the debris that flows across. And I think we ought to just do a study and find out if there's been any permanent damage already done. I'm not trying to cause trouble. I understand that this project's gonna go through. I have no problem with it, but I would like it to go through with high standards, and I would like a separation between the wetlands and the industrial park and our neighborhood, to be honest. So, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Dorothy. Anybody else? Hearing none.
I had a question. Is the vernal pool, is this established in,
It's not certified.
It's not certified.
Okay,
No, it's
that's
not
what I was gonna say. I know it's vernal pool-like in
Right,
its
it's
character, but,
potential,
Yeah.
yeah.
okay.
so,
Mr. Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
I believe when their environmental people came out in 2018 and surveyed, actually, it was in February that they actually measured the whole thing and staked it all off. So
Yeah.
they established that it was a vernal.
Right, but it's not certified by natural heritage. Brad found in his report that it looked like a vernal pool. It
Okay.
had the characteristics.
Sarah Ewens was supposed
He
to
w-
help me, but she ran out of time.
Yeah. He would have had to have studied it over a period of time in order to really make sure that the species were there and everything.
Right.
I don't think he did that, but, you can sometimes tell by looking, like Dan said. So was what he said in his reports for the potential.
well, if we don't have that base to go from, it's hard to tell what degradation would, be accomplished by the construction. So that's what I'm saying. that,
Right. I mean, they're not disturbing it, other than
no.
the outfall.
Well, there's a fence and a
sock.
sock, right?
Hmm?
There's a fence and a sock.
Right, right.
Maybe part of the requirements would be that a vernal pool certification be required.
A certification?
Yeah.
The vernal pool is located on the Form A lot completely. It's not located on this lot.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not
Dorothy,
on
whose
this lot.
land is that vernal pool on?
It's the Form A lot located on this property.
It
right
also
here.
borders my land.
It's already been approved.
So the property owner would have to agree to get it certified.
Yeah.
Right, and that Form A's already been approved and the
Officially.
official building permit's issued.
But the
This
vernal
lot
pool is
doesn't
still
touch the vernal pool.
extant, yeah. I still think that we could require that to be, we could request of the owner.
Yeah,
That-
the
that
property
they-
owner would have to agree to getting it certified, right? I mean,
Are you on good terms with the owner of that property?
I would say so, yeah. Yes.
Do you think you could perhaps lean on him to get it certified?
I could introduce the subject and bring it up to him.
They would future protect the vernal pool. I think
Right,
that's
that's the way I
what
would've
Jim's
said
trying to
it, too.
get to.
I mean, but you're not doing anything in it. I mean, you're
No,
not
there's,
disturbing
No,
it.
there's
Yeah.
nothing touching it.
there's
But
a
the big thing is
buffer.
that if we can get it certified, we'll know one way or another, is it a vernal pool? And second, then we know what has to be done to protect it more.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, this kind of goes to a lot of things I've always had issue with in terms of what we're restricted in even looking at, and what sometimes frustrates the public with us and decisions we do or don't make it, because we're looking at things in terms of that 100-foot, that 65-foot mark, and not thinking about things three-dimensionally and how it affects the hydrology of the topography of whatever we're looking at, which actually is in the description of our mandate. So, any time we have an opportunity to maybe dig a little further, I investigate a little further. Excuse me. I prefer to do that.
Yeah, but the problem is that the vernal pool is not attached to this lot, so therefore it's not germane to this conversation.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's interconnected with the project overall, though.
But you need to separate the lot from the project.
No,
This-
you probably
this-
should have done that way back when we looked at the
Yeah.
other.
So, I mean, that would have been something to do in the original,
Actually, in the original ANRAD, we probably maybe
Yeah.
should have done that.
So,
That probably
I
would have
mean,
been the time
Probably
to
should have.
get it
to
certified.
try to come in at the 11th hour now and in effect penalize a lot that has nothing to do with
Right.
the vernal pool, because that's behind the runoff swale.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but, you know, it being an open hearing, I'm just, you know, taking an opportunity to maybe, let's table that thought.
But he can't force
I get that.
any of that.
No, I get all that too. What I'm saying is, sometimes these open hearings afford us the ability to maybe
Well,
start.
Dot our i's and cross our t's for the next time, maybe.
Yes.
And I don't have a problem with requesting the owner of the Form A lot
Right.
to, you know, to do that. Frankly, there's no reason why we can't take that action ourselves. But I can't see how it can.
Certify it?
Now,
No,
requesting
no,
it is-
we can't certify it.
No, but,
Requesting
no,
it.
we can request it.
Oh, we could ask him, and he
So,
doesn't have to say yes.
But how can we penalize this lot owner who's
Right.
trying to, you know, the only reason he's back here tonight is because he needs a variance, and that's set by precedent. I don't recall in the last 5 years that we have ever denied a variance for a well. Because it's, you know, it's the
No.
150-foot setback. We've never denied a variance for a
No,
well.
and you have issued them for stormwater
Yeah.
measures, you know, detention basins,
And
things
this
like
is
that.
grading that's on the back side of it. So, you know, we're not giving the guy the okay to go ahead and put his pavement into the 65.
Yeah.
We're grading the backside of that hill, and we're issuing a variance, which is standard operating procedure as far as what we've done in the past. So, you know, we always talk about precedent. We did it on that whole development down there on High Street, where every one of those wells is out in the woods,
Yep,
because all of the septic systems are at the house.
No, I think you and I are seeing it the same way. All I'm saying is precedent's one thing, but always, I'm just seeing potential for opportunity for improving our best practices.
I don't
moving
disagree with
forward.
that.
That's all. So yeah, we can ask, they could say no, and then we would say, oh, well, you know, but.
But see, I don't think that that will be the case. I think that ultimately, this entire business park is going to be one that is going to be looking out for everything that's going to be on that pond, because they know how upset the residents have become by this, and they know they're going to be scrutinized by it. So I just don't see them trying to make enemies out of the neighborhood. I just don't. And I don't think you do either, Dorothy. I think you realize that, yeah, this is going to happen, but I don't think that it's going to end up being the business park is now the Hatfields, and everybody that lives on High Street's the McCoys.
But in that case, let us lead them to working together, and by suggesting that this guy could.
I have no trouble with that.
certification.
I just don't want to hinge that on this approval, because it has
No.
nothing to do
No.
with this lot.
right.
No, but I agree, and I like to keep those things compartmentalized too.
Yep.
I'm just saying, it being open, we're talking, we're discussing things, we're trying to make things better every next time. This could play a role in that.
I think knowing that
That's all.
eventually having that vernal pool certified would make everybody on Ricketts Pond feel a lot better. And I don't have an issue with trying to do that if we can accomplish that,
Yeah, I'll take the suggestion.
you know? But I certainly don't want to tie it into a, you know, do that or this is a no, you know what I mean? I don't
Right,
want
no.
to, I don't want to tie
Yeah,
the
to
two,
be clear,
because
it's not
the
that.
two don't have anything to do with
You
it.
can't, that would be a good year. You can't
Okay.
certify one right now, you'd have to wait till next spring.
Right, right.
So you can't
So-
do the
And by the way, there's some
certification now.
ethical issues with us leveraging that anyway.
Well, Just, you know.
So, yeah.
so, based on that. Is there any other comment from the audience? Any other comment from the board? Then I will take a motion to close the hearing for 3 Ricketts Pond Drive, DEPSE 126696.
Also move.
646. Ooh,
Six, oh, sorry, 646.
646.
Motion made and seconded. Close the hearing for Lot 3 Ricketts Pond Drive, DEPSE 126646. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? 4-0. I will take a motion to approve the NOI for Lot 3 Ricketts Pond Drive, DEPSE 126646. And then after that, we'll do the variance.
So moved.
I need a second. Motion made and seconded to approve the NOI for Lot 3 Ricketts Pond Drive, DEPSE 126646. I'm going to have a roll call vote on this. Dan?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Aye.
Dave? And I will abstain. So it's 301. I will now take a motion to approve a variance for Lot 3 Ricketts Pond Drive, DEP SE 126646, for the sole purpose of the well. We'll issue the order of conditions afterwards as far as the access to the well and so forth. The well and any grading on the backside of that slope. It's the only thing the variance is for.
Yep.
And then we can talk about the order of conditions. Anyone want to make that motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the variance with the order of conditions to be defined. For Lot 3 Ricketts Pond Drive, DEP SE 126646. Again, I'll do a roll call vote. Dan?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
And I will abstain. 301, the variance is issued. Now, what do you want to do about, what are you going to need for a width to be able to maintain that well? I'd like to keep it as narrow as you possibly can.
I'd say probably about 10 feet. Seems reasonable.
You okay with that?
Yeah, why don't you say 12? Just
12 feet. Okay.
So the way, that, you know, how Jamie Emerson has done it?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
And then what they did was they
Put the
wood
wood
chipped it
chips on it.
or you can put some mat down or something like that, just so it doesn't grow trees in it, so you don't have to cut trees down in order to get to your wellhead.
Yeah.
So you want to maintain that path, but keep it nice.
Yeah.
And then the sloping for the backside of that hill, I assume you're going to seed and,
You're gonna use the pollinator stuff, right? Is that what you're seeding with?
Pollinators are going to be the plantings in the landscape
Gonna hide this on the
islands, but
backside?
I think we're going to do jute mesh, some stabilization for any slopes over 3 to 1,
Oh, okay.
which I don't think there are, but 3 to 1 slopes will be stabilized.
okay. You all right with that, Brooke?
Yep. That
Everybody
looks
else?
good, yep, that makes sense.
Any other order of conditions? You want any wetlands markers put out there?
You
We're at $3,000 a piece now. I think he needs probably 10 of them.
Yeah. Well, we could have.
I'd like to see a couple, I really would. I'd like
Yeah,
to, because
well-
it does one of these things, so I'd really like to see,
On the 60?
maybe
We can't go around
4
65, but,
at the 65 line, and they're the small little wetlands
Conservation post.
Yes, the no
conservation.
disturb.
Yeah, and they go on a post, and just run them along the 65 line, equally spaced across the back.
yeah.
Got it.
Just
Where-
4 of them will work.
Yeah, where it makes sense.
And you know, they're not really 3,000 apiece, they're 2,900.
We're just below where he has to grade and
Dorothy?
Right here.
Ellen, Mr. Chair, could you possibly add some evergreen, shrubs or trees along that 65-foot little pin area that you're talking about?
to define it a little bit more clearly.
Yeah, what's the pleasure
Yeah.
of the board?
You're talking about planting some,
It makes like a barrier, like a natural barrier.
So you want to put some shrubbery along that 65 line?
yes, where you're gonna be there, they're gonna be there anyway, and they're gonna be putting the 65
The
markers.
posts. So have them throw
Perhaps
some
while
trees.
they're there, they could plant some evergreen arborvitaes or something to just kind of
do you think?
screen the
Yeah.
pond area. If we can't get the wall,
Yeah.
at least that will be something to,
What do you think?
How's that sound, Eric? You think they'd agree to that?
To an extent, I know the landscape plan is going to have to be reviewed by planning board, and
Oh, okay.
that's a big point of their review.
Well, actually, they
want
were
it to
talking about a
focus.
noise thing last night, so this might actually help abate some of that.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, I'm sure there'll be a few iterations with what we
Yeah.
do with them.
And that's really, I'm not sure that we can even require it. I think it really should let it be in the planning
Yeah, if they,
planning
if
stage,
all that
because the
stuff.
planning has to approve all the plantings. But I agree with you, I think that'll, and I think they know it. Especially where it was brought up last night, something about a noise study and, you know,
Yeah, I was planning to add a buffer back there anyways.
Yeah.
so, you know. I
Yeah, so
think
you can
that-
mention that you have to put the post up for us.
Yep.
So maybe do some plantings just to keep that, you know, a little more
Yeah.
defined.
Yeah, we could, you know, we could ask them for that. I don't have a problem with
We could do
requesting that.
planting. Yep,
So, yeah,
yeah,
is that all right with everybody?
Yep.
all right, so it'll be part of probably the planting plan with the planning board, but,
So 4 of the posts,
posts.
4 of the markers.
Yeah.
And do the plantings on that.
Yeah.
And then you can also, in this order of conditions, defer some of the plantings to the request of the planning board also,
Yeah.
so that we don't have overlap.
Right, right.
Then, you know, we're not telling you to put up a 2-foot tree and they want a 12-foot tree, and now I don't know who to believe first.
Yeah,
All right?
okay.
That it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And there are no minutes? Thank you very much, everybody, tonight.
Thank you
Thank
for your
you,
time.
I'll take the magic word.
Here you go.
Motion to close the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?